right, I'm here today with Dr. Jenny Coyle. Jenny is a graduate of Pacific University College of Optometry, where she also completed a residency in contact lenses and a master's of science in clinical optometry. She taught for 14 years and served as dean there for over 11 years. During that time, Dr. Coyle was also in a private group practice in Beaverton, Oregon. Dr. Coyle is currently dean of the Southern California College of Optometry at MBKU, where she provides strategic leadership for the college as MBKU continues to develop and grow its academic programs. She's also a professor at the college. Dr. Coyle is an editor for Primary Care Optometry News, a fellow in the American Academy of Optometry, and a diplomate in the section on cornea and contact lenses. She's also a diplomate of the American Board of Optometry and a distinguished practitioner and fellow in the National Academies of Practice, one of the most prestigious honors an optometrist can earn. Dr. Coyle was the first woman president of the Association of Schools and Colleges of Optometry, ASCO, for 2 terms from 2013 to 15, and for 5 years was the chair of the Oregon Optometric Physicians Association Advocacy Committee. She currently serves on the board of directors of the American Academy of Optometry, chairs the ASCO Government Affairs Committee, and is on the board of Women in Optometry. She's also a past chair of the Association of Contact Lens Educators. Dr. Coyle was named one of Vision Monday's 50 most influential women in optical in 2006 and received the 2010 Clarence G. Karkner Oregon Optometrist of the Year Award. In 2018, she received the Thea Award of Excellence in Education for Women in Optometry. She lectures frequently at national and international meetings on cornea and contact lenses and has authored many publications and book chapters on those topics. Whew, that was quite a resume there. Welcome, Dr. Coyle.
Thank you. Are you sure you're talking about me? I don't know.
No, let's do it over again. I was asking the same question. Very impressive, and from someone who came from Minnesota and to a log cabin in Alaska to Oregon and now Southern California. Maybe I missed a few other accolades in there. The real question I wanted to ask you today, the whole reason I have you on the show is, how'd you end up a Saints fan?
Who dat? Oh, my husband is from New Orleans, and when we met, I discovered his immediate passion for the Saints. And I'm an academic and I'm a scientist. So if I'm going to really get involved in something, I have to do my homework first. So I got to know the players first. And the best story, the Jimmy Graham story is incredible. It's another Blind Side kind of story. So I watched that. I think it was on YouTube or something. And then I read Drew Brees' book and I'm like, I like these people. I think I can get behind them. And so then I studied the game. So I understood what I'm watching and no turning back. I'm a who dat.
Well, you'll be happy to know that they're my second favorite team, the Washington football team. Being a 4th generation Washingtonian, of course, I can't get away from them. But a friend took me a long time ago to a Saints game in New Orleans, and that was it for me. So, they're definitely number 2. It's a little inconvenient that
Once
they're in the same conference.
You never cannot be a Saints fan.
Definitely root for them when the Redskins are out of it. Now, yeah, even your dog is named after Drew Brees, right?
Brees, yep.
Brees, just Brees. You dropped the Drew. Or not Andrew. Yeah, I love when people.
Brees has a new home. Brees got a new job. We actually, when we moved to California, it was just too much, and so he is now a service animal for a retired vet who, he now has a really big job.
Wow, fantastic! Did he need special training for that?
No, but they had to change his name because he wasn't a Saints fan.
Poor dog. Oh my God. Well, I read, I did my homework for this interview. I know a lot about you because we're friends, but I didn't know anything near what I thought I knew about you. And one article I read, From Dairy Queen to Dean, was the title of. I love that. Tell our viewers the story of how one led to the other.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a funny story that became the tagline.
Great.
So I was that kid, that common kid who got her first pair of glasses in 4th grade. When you go from learning to read to reading to learn, the print changes, that is the common reason why kids get glasses in the 4th grade. And hated them. This was the 70s. Glasses weren't cool back then. So I never wore them. So when I was in high school, my freshman year, I got a job at the Dairy Queen. And so, and this was in Alaska. So minimum wage was really high back then. I mean, this was probably 1981. Minimum wage back then was $10 an hour, which, imagine now. And so I had all this money in my pocket. So I went to the local optometrist and said, will you fit me with contact lenses, but I have to pay for them myself. I was 15. Can you put me on a payment plan? Because I'm making my money as I go, making these drip cones, and that's going to lead to my contact lenses. And he gave me a job. And so I worked for him that first summer from 8 to 5. And then I went and worked at the Dairy Queen from 6 to 11 every night. And he still made me pay for those contact lenses. I paid him off over the summer. And back then, we used to charge exorbitant fitting fees. I think I probably for that first pair of vial lenses and the whole fitting process and follow up, it was probably $500 back then, which was a lot for a 15-year-old.
That's a lot.
So then I learned about optometry, and it was I was inspired. It was destiny that this is what I would do.
Well, just think about that one act of kindness giving you that job. Like how many influenced how many people ultimately. I mean, as a professor and a teacher all these years, it's just be kind is what the message there is. That's a good segue into you're so accomplished and you didn't take the easy road or let anything stop you. I read about your daughter was 9 months old when you started, and you were 9 months pregnant when you graduated. Can you tell our viewers about a time when things got really hard for you?
Well, it was never simple. But having children throughout optometry school was pretty motivating, actually, because you work so hard and you get so tired, and then I look at my daughter and I'm like, this is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so she can have a better life. I'm sure that for some people, I was supposed to start optometry school a year earlier than I did, and I took a year off and had my daughter, and then my husband and I moved down to Oregon when she was 9 months old, and it life was different for me. I wasn't the optometry student who went out on the weekends with my classmates. I was the one who had the kid, and every spare moment I had, I was studying. So it wasn't easy, but it's what I knew, and it's doable. It's very possible. You gotta have goals, and you stick to your goals, and that's basically how I've lived my life.
I think that
But
you said
the joke is, at graduation, we wear those huge velvet gowns. I was the only one whose gown fit because I was 9 months pregnant with my son, who's now an optometrist.
Mine fit because I had a big bottle of champagne under there.
Did you?
That's a really great story. And you said, I was the one, and I think all of our classes had one or more mothers in the class. And as the youngster single guy, you always look and you wonder, I looked at them with awe, wondering how they were doing that, because it was enough just doing what I was doing. So that's incredible. And it was in optometry school that you discovered your passion for contacts, and you practiced for many years as a clinical optometrist, and continued doing research while you pursued your optometric education. At what point did you make the decision to cross over to the education track? And do you still have to scratch your contact lens itch every once in a while?
Oh, yeah. I remember telling George Mertz, our buddy George Mertz, who passed away way too soon. Yes. I remember he was the academic affairs person at VistaCon, and we went around the room. We had to say something about ourselves, and I remember saying, "I'm addicted to contact lenses." So that'll never leave my repertoire. Love contact lenses forever. So education was always the path. As soon as I was inspired by my mentor in optometry school, Christina Schneider, I wanted to do what she did because it was something different every single day. So I was in practice, but I was in practice just a day or a day and a half a week. I went down the education track right after my residency, and I was lucky enough I was able to do both for a very long time. And it wasn't until I became an administrator when I accepted the role as the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs, that I had to make a decision. I had to pick private practice or give my all to education. And it's kind of a funny story. I almost missed a flight to Salt Lake City to do a lecture that I had scheduled, and I had the date wrong in my head. And it was only because the flight was going to be late, and I got a call from Delta Airlines. Oh, your flight is going to be late. And I'm like, wait, that flight's tomorrow. And it wasn't. It was that day. And that's when I knew, okay, Jen, you can't do it all. You got to pick. You got to pick. So either you're going to continue to practice and teach, or you're going to give it all to your administrative role. And I did a lot of soul searching, and I decided I thought the faculty and the students deserved to have my full attention. So that was the path I took, and the rest is history.
What I guess you've developed a lot of your philosophies as you move along, because if you just started without any kind of ambition to have an academic career, and then you end up in one, what philosophy would you say you use that sets your students up for success?
Follow your gut. And if you ever pause and you think to yourself, if I was there and I had to, this was my responsibility, I would try this. That's usually a sign that maybe there's something you want to do, you just haven't identified it. So, I always tell our students, set yourself up for success. So I call it build your professional street cred. So always, do the best you can to take the high road, to take advantage of opportunities when they come your way. Even if you think, I'm not sure that's going to be my bliss, test the waters. You never know. I didn't know I'd be an administrator. I used to say I was the accidental dean. That was not my aspiration. It happened. I thought I'll try it because I was thinking, I'd like to try this strategy for this scenario. And so when the opportunity arose, I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and try it. And if I don't like it, I can go back to what I was doing. So I tell students, first of all, do everything you can to build up your professional street cred by taking advantage of opportunities. Always be thinking about, what could be next? And then don't be afraid to try.
That's great advice. I was fortunate to give the commencement address at NECA's 2019 graduation, where I graduated from. And a lot of people I found, a lot of young students I talked to want to know what's the path to success. And, that's because we're used to following this path from a young age to be an optometrist. There's a very clear-cut path of what you have to do. Once you become an optometrist, they're looking for a path to success, but there is no path to success. Everybody, as I said, blazes their own trail. And you do that by trying
like
things.
This.
You do that by trying.
You
do that by trying things. You do that by making mistakes, and you can't be afraid to try things, and that's all part of risk taking. So, very, very important. Yeah. That's great advice. Let's move over to talking about the school now. SCCO at MBKU. Tell us about some interesting clinical stuff that's going on there.
Oh, I feel like the luckiest woman alive that I get to be here and part of what's happening in a very young university that is 100% focused on training healthcare professionals. Our mission is to reimagine the future of healthcare education. And that's what we're doing. I get to be at the forefront of innovative interprofessional activities. Right now, we're really focused on ramping up our interprofessional and collaborative practice clinic. We're talking about adding primary systemic health, PA, and pharmacy to even some of our standing, that used to be just optometry clinics. What ways can we integrate collaborative care into those settings? And some of those are out in, areas where there is access to care issues, not just eye care, but also systemic health care. So that we're having those conversations. We're trying to look at, community partners that we can partner with so that we can get to where the patients are that need us. It's super exciting. I've been here now a year and 2 months, and most of it's been COVID. Look, I'm working from home, which I never would have expected when I came to a new university. But we're looking at our mission goals and objectives right now with fresh eyes. We're working on ways that we can weave cultural humility and interprofessional training throughout the whole curriculum from year one all the way to when the students graduate. We're also in the middle of a huge curriculum refresh, and we're looking at our entire sequence, even the structure and the blocks of time that we're using with fresh eyes. And we're doing it in the middle of a pandemic, which has everything to do with the fact that I work with really brilliant faculty who care so much about the SCCO students and the alumni. So I'm hoping our alumni get excited when they hear these things, because we're thinking ahead to what's optometry going to be like in 2030 and making sure that our students are prepared. And ultimately, I'm happy if our alumni are happy. So that's my end goal.
That's incredible. And you'll be able to write a book, because being a new leader at a school, that everything, that in this situation we're in is definitely something that there's not a lot written about. I mean, it's crazy. I can't imagine.
We didn't have a playbook for this.
Right. No playbook. That's what it's the challenges. No. The challenges we can't even imagine. I know you're big on mentorship as well. And for the benefit of the students and young ODs that are watching our show, can we talk about the importance of finding one or more mentors, and at what point in your education should they start looking? Give them some advice.
Well, I mean, you should start looking in high school and undergrad, really. I have a lot of mentors, and mentors really were impactful at so many different stages of my career. And really, it always goes back to somebody seeing something in you that you might not have seen yourself, and kind of planting that seed. I feel like I've benefited so much from mentorship that I think it's my personal responsibility now to pay it back and pay it forward. So I'm looking at opportunities for micro mentorship, for, I'll help strangers. Somebody can write me and say, hey, I really want to get to this path. And then we talk through, what are some steps that you could take? I say, for optometry students, your faculty are your mentors, and you will definitely connect with someone who is doing something that you can tell they love it. And if you love it too, that's your first mentor. Find out what does it take to get to where I'm at the place where I get to do everything every day that I really love. My latest mentor, I call him my dean mentor, and that's my boss, my president, Kevin Alexander. He became one of my mentors when I first joined the ASCO board back in 2008. And he has pushed me all along. So it kind of made sense when I had a conversation with him. We joke, it was the elevator conversation, where he said, Jen, I need a dean still. Will you think about coming here? And, I always thought it would be so great to work for an inspiring OD like him, who understands leadership, who's super visionary, who shares my passion for collaborative practice and IPE. And so I went home that weekend that we had after that elevator conversation, and I looked at my husband. My kids had graduated from college. I got to hood my son in optometry school, and I said, John, I think we should look at maybe going to SCCO. And he said, do you want to do it? And I said, I think I do. And he said, let's go. Awesome. And the rest was history.
That's awesome.
So mentors have been incredibly impactful in my life. And I want everybody to have that experience. And it doesn't end. It never ends.
I also tell people, that's great advice. And I tell young people who know where they want to practice, to start connecting with docs in that area using LinkedIn, and without having any asks of them, just start letting them know who you are by sending short messages, and out of the group that you connect with, somebody will end up being a regional mentor for you and help you kind of get in that area to practice. And that was something that I did. And I have made some lifelong friendships and colleagues who were mentors who are now colleagues that I'm still in touch with from that. So that's great advice.
Yeah. And getting involved is really important too. Joining your local society. I've been so welcomed by the Orange County Optometric Society. And after spending 30 years in Oregon, it's hard to think of having another home. And it was immediate. I mean, it's just, that's what's so great about optometry.
Yeah.
So you join your local society, you get to know other docs in the area. As a student, attend the society events. They love to welcome students. And that's how you can find out who's hiring or who's might be selling their practice, or if there's gaps in some area of town.
It's a very collegial profession, unless you're planning to open across the street from somewhere.
Right.
So an area that you and I are both passionate about and have worked hard to help advance in optometry is expanding diversity in the profession. Tell us what is going on at SCCO in terms of expanding diversity.
Well, we have a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Dr. Melissa Contreras. I appointed her in July, and she has a master's in public health, and she spent quite a bit of her career here at SCCO directing one of our clinics that's in South LA and serves, a diverse patient population. And she had a real passion. And so we had conversations about, there are things that I have been wanting to do throughout my career as a dean. And I really needed a champion on the faculty who could help us, particularly with curriculum. We can have diversity and cultural humility events, but really what I want to see is how does a student transform over time, and what do they learn the first year that changes their thinking and their thought process that ultimately, changes the way that they practice. So we're going to be working on that. Curriculum changes. She's a resource now. She's going to help us recruit, hopefully, more students of color to SCCO. There's so many things. I mean, the sky's the limit at this point. I'm just super excited I have a partner here.
That's great. And it's so important. Keep us in the loop about that. And maybe we'll have you back for an interview later and hear how those efforts are going. What you were dean at Pacific and now dean at MBKU at SCCO. What do you consider your biggest accomplishment during your tenure at Pacific, and what are you gearing towards in the same manner at SCCO?
I think, I didn't have a single accomplishment. I work with the team. So I think I would say my biggest accomplishment is I got along with people, and I worked with great people, and I was able to help them build up on their strengths. And we created a culture that I'm really confident is continuing under the leadership of Dr. Fraser Horn. I'm so proud of our dean, my dean now, because I'm a Pacific alumna. He's continuing a culture. And it's a culture of collaboration. We don't make decisions in a vacuum. There's very few things that you got to decide on a whim. You can always pause, get some input, let things marinate. And I'm confident that's continuing. Here, I'm working really hard at invigorating faculty governance and empowering faculty to be as involved as they want to be in the decisions that we make for the future of the college and even the day-to-day experiences. At Pacific, we were very focused on outreach to the underserved and the choices that we made about where we put our clinics and the care that we provided. We provided a really diverse experience for students because we had these clinics strategically placed in different areas in the Portland metro area. And then we purchased I called it 32 feet of awesomeness. Actually, it was 33 feet. A huge brand new Winnebago bus, a mobile vision clinic that goes out into the community and provides vision care. And we were able to secure funding to build one for dental hygiene. So we would take both vans out and go into the community, and kids would have an eye exam, and then they would also have a dental health exam. So we were taking care, called it the I Smile program. And we're talking about some of our community health clinics here and ways that we can expand the outreach experience. That's just, it's in my blood. Outreach and IPE is in my blood. We're package deals. So IPE and outreach are in my blood. And so, we're having kind of conversations with fresh ideas here about ways that we can ramp that up at SCCO.
I
they
think,
already do so much in the community, and I want to be a part of it, and I not only do I want to continue the great things that are going on, but I want to expand it.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think if we boil that all down, what you did at Pacific and what you're doing at MBKU is you're changing the culture in a positive way, and there's no better way to leave a legacy than to add value to an organization's culture.
And I don't think our culture needed to be changed. I think I'm just they call it genifying. They call it a Pacific. So,
right. I didn't mean
I'm excited that I've been able to work with a whole new group of people, and I still get to bring, a lot of the goals that I had at Pacific. I'm doing a lot of similar things here, but we're doing it in a different way and with the SCCO spin. So it's not a total culture shift. It's just, I just get to be part of a different culture.
Well, it's okay. I mean, nobody was saying that their culture was lacking. So you're just adding to the culture. That's what we'll say. Now we're getting close to wrapping up. I wanted to go back into your personal life for a second. I know that your husband, John, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a veteran. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank him for his service from all of us. And what branch of the military was he in? He
was a Marine.
Oh, wow. Semper Fidelis.
Semper Fi. Yep.
And what does he do?
He is the vice president of a shipping company. They are responsible for all the logistics for when bulk cargo comes into port and delivers grain, coal, soybean, those sorts of things.
Sounds like a big job.
Yep. And fortunately, he was able to continue doing what he's doing in a new state.
No, maybe even closer to the ocean. Who knows?
Yeah.
Your son, Ryan, is an optometrist. And how is he practicing now?
He works for Eye Health Northwest in the Portland metro area. He completed a residency at Baskin Palmer last year, and then went back home to Oregon and was able to find a job in a busy ODMD practice.
Fantastic. That's a great residency there as well. And your daughter, I don't know what her name is.
So my youngest daughter, Katri, she's an ornithologist. She's actually right now she's studying to take the GRE to apply to grad school. She got very involved in doing bird research when she was an undergrad. And at Pacific, the faculty tend to be very transformative for students who are really interested in the research that the faculty are doing. And she got very involved in bird research. And now that's what she wants to do.
I was going to say birds, but so I looked really smart that I knew what that was, but you threw it in there.
Yeah, ornithology, birds. Yep. So
right. Wow, that's really
interesting. She wants to be an ornithologist. Yes.
Excellent. Can't say I know much
about that. She's got a knack. She can name birds, any bird. She'll hear it. She can name it by the sound.
Wow. I can name the ones I like to eat. That's about it. And then one more thing. So you're really into gardening, I know. And has that changed from being in Oregon to Southern California for you?
I could do it year round.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The roses are blooming still. It's actually been kind of fun. It's I used to say I was a Minnesota gardener. So in Oregon, I had different gardens around. We had 12 acres. So we moved from huge, kind of like farmland property to Southern California. So that was a little bit of a culture shock. But so in Oregon, I had my Minnesota garden, I had my Northwest garden, and I even had a kind of a California garden.
Well, that's really neat. And, it's great that you're able to follow your hobbies and passions. Sounds like a wonderful family. I'm the son of an optometrist who hooded me at graduation. So I know how special that is as well. And I want to tell you a special thanks for you taking time out of your busy day. And let me tell you, that's a busy day to talk to us and be on the show. And we'd love to have you back sometime.
I'd love it. Thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
Oh, you were way up there in terms of the first group of people I wanted to have on the show, because I really admire you, and I appreciate our friendship and everything you bring to the profession, Jenny. So thank you again, and good luck, and we'll be in touch real soon, and look forward to seeing you in the not too distant future at some live event like we used to do.
All right. Thank you for keeping us all connected.
Oh, thank you.
I think ODs on Facebook has really helped us get through this pandemic.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment, and it means a lot to me. It's a passion, and I'm going to keep it going. I wake up every morning for 10 years now, excited to see what happened on there the next day, and that excitement, keeps it going for me. Mm-hmm. All right. Good. Have a great day. Thanks, Jenny.
You too. Bye-bye.